Hi there. So just going to take a little image here that I have of a bird's nest that I found, genuinely found, that is, on the floor, not taken maliciously from a tree. And just double check that your image file setup is the same as mine. So image mode, RGB, 8 bits per channel. Okay. So let's just have a little look at one of the features up here we call the Camera Raw feature. And if you've not shot in a RAW format before, you may not be familiar with this dialog, not all of which is relevant to this exercise, but just have a little look at it and let you know that it's there. It's got some very nicely laid out tools if you want to do quick adjustments for exposure, contrast, highlights, etc. The tool that perhaps is instantly most useful is the white balance tool, because it gives you the opportunity to correct any color distortion. Perhaps you were shooting maybe with a cloudy setting in your camera when in fact it was a sunny day or it was a cool evening or something, and so sometimes you get a color distortion there, and you can look at the profiles, and you can add profiles as well, but you can also customize your own temperature setting. So if you want to add a little bit of coolness to it, if you think it's too warm, you can just adjust the temperature like so. So the white balance is just coming down. So for me, somewhere in there kind of feels about right. Now if I want to pick out a little bit more of the color, so we've got the HSL adjustment, so hue, saturation and luminance adjustment. So for the hue, I want to just have a little look at the yellows in here and see if I can just enhance those a little bit, so the yellows and the oranges. And there we go. If you just, I'll turn them off. So I'll turn, not off, but back to their original settings, so 0 and 0. Okay, and if we just examine it, you'll just see the image warming up around in these sections in here. So just in there, so I can cool it right. Oh, my slider's gone. Got a little bit sticky there. So obviously I've gone into kind of greens and yellow territories, but I just want to warm that through a little bit. So that's a very useful tool to be using. It's a bit like using your adjustment layer and your color balance, your hue, saturation inside Photoshop, but it's available also if you're going to be shooting in RAW and you want to go back and edit the image. You have this dialog available. What else? We have the lens correction, so I'm just going to zoom out of here a little bit. Lens correction can offer a little bit of additional distortion if you want to advance or recede a particular area of the image if you want to maybe make it a little bit more pronounced. So let's give it a tiny bit of distortion. Defringing is not relevant to what we're doing at the moment. Grain is about literally introducing a kind of simulated film grain into your image, if that's what you want to do. And you've got your tone curve like you would have normally inside Photoshop, which would be your normal adjustment curve. This is a case of just bringing in the kind of traditional little S, so just adjust those ever so slightly, just to get a nice little S curve there. It's a gentle lip curve running through. Okay, I don't want to blow anything out by going too crazy, so I'm keeping the adjustments fairly minimal. Just a tiny little bit there. That's nice. Okay, obviously what I'm seeing on my monitor and what you see might just change ever so slightly. Okay, so this is useful. So down here in the bottom right hand corner you can have a kind of before and after. So you can swap before and after, or you can cycle between them. So there we go. We've got a before and an after, and it might be a case that you're looking and thinking, oh God, there's not much difference. There'll just be the tiniest bit of alteration. That's all it really needed. It was fairly well balanced in terms of light and colour in the first instance, but there's a little bit more warmth in these areas in here. This has been, remember this was, we used the lens correction here as well. So that's a really useful little tool to be looking at also. So I'll just say OK to that. OK. Okay, so I'm at 5:49 already. I want to keep this fairly short. So for the moment, actually, I'll just go back to it one last time. So camera raw filter, one thing I didn't do, which you may or may not want to add, is the little vignetting, which is just there. Around the corners, we're just going to add a tiny little bit of vignetting, which can be added here. Again, this is a compensatory thing for lenses where you get that kind of shadowing in the corners. So I'm just adding a little tiny touch of vignetting at the corner. So okay, that's fine. Okay, zoom out a little bit. That's fine. Okay, that'll do it for that. Thanks very much.